I was signing for a delivery of oak bookshelves I had saved 6 months to afford when I heard the rumble of a truck engine in my driveway. Through my living room window, I watched my parents climb out of a 16-foot U-Haul, my father already barking orders at 2 hired movers. My mother held a clipboard like a general preparing for battle. Behind them, a furniture delivery truck idled at the curb, the driver checking an address on his phone. My address. My sister's baby furniture. They were taking my house. My heart hammered against my ribs as I walked toward my front door. This had to be some kind of mistake. Maybe they were helping me move something. Maybe they had the wrong address. The thoughts felt hollow, even as I tried to convince myself. I pulled open the door and stepped onto my porch, the afternoon sun warm on my face, everything appearing normal, except for the circus unfolding in my driveway. My mother, Patricia, did not even look at me. She pointed at my front door and said to the movers, "Start with the living room. Box up anything breakable first." "Mom, what is going on?" I called out, walking down the 3 steps to my lawn. My father, Gordon, turned and held up a hand like a traffic cop. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded stack of papers. "Jet, we have found you a nice place. Studio apartment, over on Maple Street. Already paid the first month. You can move in today." The words hit me like cold water. "What are you talking about?" "I am not moving anywhere." He walked toward me, his expression flat and businesslike. "Your sister needs this house. She is 8 months pregnant. You are single. You do not need 3 bedrooms. This is my house," I said, my voice rising. "I bought this house. I pay the mortgage every single month." My mother finally looked at me, her face pinched with impatience. "We helped you with the down payment 4 years ago. That gives us a say in how this property gets used. Madison needs a real home for the baby. You can manage just fine in a studio." Before I could respond, tires crunched on the gravel. A silver SUV pulled up behind the delivery truck. My sister Madison climbed out, one hand on her rounded belly, moving with the careful balance of someone in her final trimester. She wore yoga pants and an oversized sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She smiled at our parents, completely ignoring me, and walked past me up the porch steps. "Madison, stop," I said. "You cannot just walk into my house." She paused at the door, pulled a key from her pocket, and unlocked it. My front door, my lock, a key I had never given her. "Where did you get that?" I demanded. "I had a copy made," my mother said from behind me. "In case of emergencies." Madison disappeared inside. I heard her footsteps on my hardwood floors, heard her voice calling out, "The couch can stay, but that recliner has to go. And we will need to repaint this whole room. Maybe a soft yellow." The furniture delivery driver approached, holding a clipboard. "Sir, I have got a crib, a changing table, and a glider rocker for this address. Where would you like them?" "There has been a mistake," I said. "Those are not supposed to be delivered here. Nursery is upstairs, second door on the left," my father said to the driver. "Just follow the lady inside." "Do not move anything," I said to the movers standing by the U-Haul. "Nobody is packing up my belongings." One of the movers, a heavy man with a gray beard, looked between me and my father. Uncertain. "Jet, be reasonable," my mother said, stepping closer. She spoke in that syrupy tone she used when she wanted something. "Madison's husband is not working out. She needs stability. She needs family support. You have always been so independent, so capable. This is your chance to help your sister when she really needs it. By giving her my house?" I stared at her. "Are you hearing yourself right now?" My father handed me the lease agreement. "Sign this. The studio is clean, furnished, ready to go. You will barely notice the difference." I did not take the papers. "I am not signing anything. This is insane. You cannot just show up and take someone's house." "It is not just your house," my father said. His voice dropped, became harder. "We are on the deed, son. Co-owners. When we helped you with that down payment, we made sure to protect our investment. That means we have a legal right to make decisions about this property." The ground seemed to shift under my feet. "What are you talking about? That was a gift." "You said it was a gift. We said we would help you," my mother corrected. "And we did. But we also made sure our names went on the deed. Just in case you ever got into trouble, or made poor decisions, or needed guidance. Like now." Madison emerged from inside, carrying one of my framed photographs, a picture of me hiking in Colorado. "Do you want this, or should I toss it?" "Put that down," I said. She set it on the porch railing carelessly. "We are going to need to clear out a lot of your stuff. The baby needs room." I pulled out my phone. "I am calling the police. You are trespassing." "Go ahead," my father said. He crossed his arms, completely calm. "Call them. We are co-owners. We have every right to be here." I dialed 911 anyway. My hands shook as I held the phone to my ear. The dispatcher answered, and I explained the situation as clearly as I could. Unauthorized people were moving my belongings without permission. They were claiming ownership of my house. I needed help. The dispatcher said officers were on the way. 15 minutes later, a patrol car pulled up. 2 officers stepped out. A tall man with a shaved head, and a younger woman with her hair in a tight bun. Their name tags read, Brennan and Hayes. "What seems to be the problem?" Officer Brennan asked. Everyone started talking at once. I explained that these people were trying to force me out of my home. My father calmly pulled out a folded document from his jacket. My mother stood beside him, serene and confident. Madison sat on my porch steps, one hand on her belly, looking vulnerable and tired. "Officers, this is a family matter," my father said. He handed the document to Officer Brennan. "My name and my wife's name are on the deed to this property, along with our son. We co-own this house. We are simply helping our daughter move in, as is our right as property owners." Officer Brennan unfolded the paper and read it. Officer Hayes looked over his shoulder. They exchanged a glance. "Sir, is this accurate?" Officer Brennan asked me. "Are your parents listed on the deed?" I grabbed the paper from his hands. There it was, in black and white. The deed to my house. My name, Jet Ryland Parker. Below it, Gordon Francis Parker and Patricia Ann Parker. All 3 names. Co-owners with right of survivorship. "This was supposed to be a gift," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "They said they were helping me buy a house. Unfortunately, this is a civil property dispute," Officer Hayes said, her tone sympathetic but firm. "Since all parties are listed as legal owners, we cannot remove anyone for trespassing. You will need to resolve this through the courts or with a lawyer." "But they are moving my furniture," I protested. "They made a key without my permission. If they are co-owners, they have a right to access the property," Officer Brennan said. "I am sorry, but there is nothing we can do here. This is not a criminal matter." The officers gave me a card for legal aid services and left. I stood in my driveway, watching them drive away, feeling the world tilt sideways. My parents smiled at each other. Madison stood and walked back inside my house. "Shall we continue?" my mother asked the movers. "No," I said. "Absolutely not. Nobody is touching anything." I walked past all of them, into my house, and locked myself in my home office. I could hear them moving around downstairs, hear Madison giving instructions, hear furniture being shifted. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and started searching. Property law. Co-ownership rights. How to remove someone from a deed. The search results were not encouraging. Yes, my parents were on the deed. Yes, that gave them legal ownership rights. But I had been making every single mortgage payment for 4 years. Every month, $2,300 came out of my account. I had bank statements to prove it. I had paid property taxes. I had paid for repairs and maintenance. I was listed as the primary owner with right of survivorship, which meant something. I called every real estate attorney in the phone book. Most were closed for the day. I left voicemails. Finally, a paralegal at one office answered and gave me the direct line for attorney Amanda Hartley, who handled property disputes. She agreed to an emergency consultation the next morning at 9. I sat in my office as the sun set outside my window. I heard the sounds of my home being invaded, the baby crib being assembled, Madison's voice, bright and cheerful, talking about paint colors and where to hang pictures, my parents' footsteps on the stairs, the scrape of furniture being moved. Around 8 in the evening, someone knocked on my office door. "Jet, you need to eat something." My mother called. I did not answer. "We are ordering pizza." "Do you want anything?" I stayed silent. Eventually, they left me alone. I dozed in my desk chair, too angry and frightened to leave the room. Around 3 in the morning, I woke, needing to use the bathroom. I opened my door carefully, listened. The house was quiet. I crept down the hallway. The master bedroom door was open. I glanced inside and saw the crib assembled by the window, the changing table against the far wall, the glider rocker in the corner. My bed was gone. My dresser was gone. Madison's clothes hung in my closet. I used the bathroom and started back toward my office. Voices drifted up from the kitchen. Low, conspiratorial. I moved to the top of the stairs and listened. "The key is getting him out for just one night," my father was saying. "Once he leaves voluntarily, even for a few hours, we change the locks. Then, it becomes abandonment." "Are you sure that will work?" Madison asked. "What if he fights it?" "He will not," my mother said. "He cannot afford a real lawyer. Those consultation fees alone will drain him." Our attorney already confirmed the strategy. Possession is 9/10 of the law. If we are living here and he is not, a judge will side with us. "How long have you been planning this?" That was Derek's voice, Madison's husband. "Since you two told us about the pregnancy," my father said. 8 months. We have been preparing everything." They laughed, actually laughed. My own family, sitting in my kitchen at 3 in the morning, celebrating their plan to steal my house. I backed away from the stairs, my heart racing, and returned to my office. I locked the door and leaned against it, processing what I had just heard. This was not impulsive. This was not some misguided attempt to help family. This was calculated, premeditated. They had been planning this for 8 months. I grabbed my phone and opened the voice recorder app. If they talked again, I would be ready. I did not sleep the rest of that night. At 8:45 the next morning, I called Amanda Hartley's office from my locked room. The paralegal transferred me directly to her. I explained everything in a rush. The surprise moving truck, the deed with my parents' names, the police saying it was a civil matter, the conversation I overheard at 3 in the morning. Amanda listened without interrupting. When I finished, she asked me to email her a copy of the deed and any documentation I had showing my mortgage payments. "Can they really do this?" I asked. "Legally, it is complicated," she said. "Yes, they are co-owners, which gives them certain rights. But you have been the sole mortgage payer, which establishes you as the primary financial stakeholder. The fact that they are trying to force you out through coercion, rather than proper legal channels, works in your favor. However, this is going to take time to resolve." "How much time?" "Weeks, possibly months. We will need to file a partition action, which is a lawsuit to divide co-owned property. We will also need to pursue a temporary restraining order to prevent them from changing locks or further excluding you from the property. But courts move slowly, especially for property disputes." "How much will this cost?" She paused. "Retainer of $5,000 to start. Total fees could range from 15 to 20,000, depending on how aggressively they fight. My stomach dropped. I had maybe 8,000 in savings. I had good credit, but taking on that kind of debt to fight for my own house felt surreal. There is one critical thing, Amanda continued. You cannot leave that property. If you voluntarily vacate, even temporarily, they can claim abandonment. It strengthens their position significantly. You need to maintain physical presence in that house. They are already living here, I said. My sister moved into my bedroom. They are treating me like an intruder in my own home. Document everything. Photos, videos, written records of every conversation. Keep all receipts showing you pay the mortgage. And do not, under any circumstances, leave that house for more than a work shift. Do you understand? Yes. I will draft the initial filings today. We can get a court date for a preliminary hearing, but expect it to be at least 3 weeks out. Can you hold on that long? I looked around my office. The only room in this house that still felt like mine. I do not have a choice. After we hung up, I sent her the documents she requested. Then I unlocked my office door and stepped into the hallway. The smell of coffee drifted up from the kitchen. I heard Madison's voice, bright and energetic, talking to someone on the phone about baby shower invitations. I went downstairs. My father sat in my recliner, reading the newspaper. My mother was at the kitchen counter, slicing fruit. Madison was at the dining table, her laptop open, a notepad beside her. Good morning, my mother said, as if this were completely normal. There is coffee if you want some. I need to talk to all of you, I said. My father lowered the newspaper. What is it? I spoke with a lawyer. I am filing a partition action and requesting a restraining order. You cannot force me out of my own house. Your house? Madison looked up from her laptop. This is family property. We are all owners. I have made every mortgage payment for 4 years. I have proof. And we provided the down payment, my father said. Without us, you would not have this house at all. You should be grateful. Grateful? I stared at him. You are trying to steal my home. We are helping Madison, my mother said. Her voice remained calm, almost soothing. She needs stability for the baby. You are being selfish. I wanted to scream. Instead, I pulled out my phone and took a picture of all 3 of them sitting in my house. I am documenting everything. Every conversation. Every action. You are not going to get away with this. Madison rolled her eyes. You are being dramatic. I went to the front door. My truck was in the driveway, boxed in by the U-Haul, which was still parked there. The furniture delivery truck was gone. The baby furniture was inside my house. I took pictures of everything. My job was flexible. I worked as an IT project manager for a medical software company, mostly remote with occasional office days. I could work from home indefinitely if needed. I sent my boss a brief email explaining a family emergency and requesting to work fully remote for the next few weeks. He approved it within an hour. I returned to my office and locked the door again. I set up my work laptop, joined my morning stand-up meeting via video call, and tried to focus on project timelines and sprint planning while my family dismantled my life outside. Around noon, I heard new voices downstairs. Male, unfamiliar. I opened my door slightly and listened. Madison's husband, Derek. I had met him only a handful of times, mostly at family dinners. He was loud, opinionated, the kind of guy who dominated every conversation. Where is he? Derek's voice echoed up the stairs. Hiding in his office, Madison said. He has been in there all morning. Maybe I should talk to him. Man to man. Do not bother, my father said. He will come around. He has no choice. I closed my door and locked it. An hour later, someone pounded on it. Jet, open up. Derek's voice, aggressive and demanding. I did not respond. "Come on, man. Open the door. We need to talk." "Go away," I called out. "You are being a selfish jerk, you know that? Your sister needs help. She needs family. And you are acting like a spoiled child. This is my house. It is family property. Stop being dramatic and accept reality." He pounded on the door a few more times, then gave up. I heard him stomp back downstairs. That afternoon, I noticed something odd. My Wi-Fi kept disconnecting. I checked the router settings on my phone and discovered the password had been changed. I reset the router to factory settings and created a new password. Within an hour, someone changed it again. I went downstairs. My mother was in the living room, her phone in her hand. "Did you change the Wi-Fi password?" I asked. "We thought it best to secure the network," she said. "With Madison moving in, we want to make sure everything is safe. This is my internet service. I pay the bill, and we are co-owners of the house. We have a right to manage the utilities." I called my internet provider and had them walk me through changing the administrative password so only I could access the router settings. I set a new Wi-Fi password and did not share it with anyone. When I went to the kitchen to grab food, I found the refrigerator had been reorganized. All my groceries were gone. The shelves were full of organic vegetables, almond milk, gluten-free bread, things Madison liked. "Where's my food?" I asked. "We cleaned out the expired items," my mother said. She was washing dishes, her back to me. "You can eat what is here. We are all family." That food was not expired. I bought it 3 days ago. She shrugged. "We need to keep things healthy for the baby." I grabbed my keys and wallet, went to the grocery store, bought basics, and returned home. I kept everything in my office. A mini fridge I ordered online would arrive in 2 days. That evening, exhausted, I tried to sleep on the floor of my office, using a camping sleeping bag I kept in the garage. Every sound in the house made me tense. Footsteps on the stairs, voices in the hallway, the creak of floorboards. Around midnight, I heard movement outside my office door. A shadow passed under the crack at the bottom. Then nothing. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how my life had become this. The next morning, I went to my bedroom to get clean clothes. The door was closed. I opened it and found Madison asleep in what used to be my bed, except it was not my bed anymore. It was a new bed, queen-sized, with a floral comforter. The nursery furniture filled the rest of the room. My clothes were nowhere to be seen. I found them in the garage, stuffed into garbage bags. My furniture, my dresser, my nightstand, all piled in the corner like trash. I grabbed a bag of clothes and carried it back to my office. My mother intercepted me in the hallway. "We set up the guest room for you. There is an air mattress." "The guest room," I repeated. "In my own house. You are giving me the guest room?" "Madison needs the master. She is pregnant. She needs space for the baby. She has her own place." "Not anymore. She moved out of her apartment. This is her home now." I pushed past her. In the small guest room, barely 10 feet by 10 feet, they had indeed set up an air mattress. It took up most of the floor space. My garbage bags of clothes were piled in the corner. I took pictures of everything. The nursery in my bedroom, my belongings in garbage bags, the air mattress in the guest room. I sent it all to Amanda. She replied within minutes. "This is constructive eviction. Keep documenting. We file the emergency motion tomorrow." That night, as I lay on the air mattress that slowly deflated beneath me, I heard my parents and Madison in the living room, laughing at something on television. Derek was there too, his voice booming. They sounded like a happy family, enjoying their home. My home. I pulled out my phone and checked my bank account. The mortgage payment was due in 12 days, $2,300. I had enough to cover it, but just barely. My savings were dwindling fast, with lawyer fees looming. I fell asleep to the sound of their laughter, wondering how much worse this could possibly get. The next morning, I made my work calls from the guest room, balancing my laptop on my knees while sitting on the deflating air mattress. My team noticed the echo in my audio and the odd background noises. I made excuses about home renovations. Amanda called at 10. I am filing the emergency motions today. Partition action, restraining order, and a claim for constructive eviction. The court should assign a date within the week. In the meantime, I need you to get me proof of every mortgage payment you have made. Bank statements going back 4 years if possible. I will get them, I said. After the call, I logged into my bank's website to download statements. Something felt wrong. The balance was lower than I expected. I checked my recent transactions, and my blood went cold. 3 streaming service subscriptions had been canceled. My premium music service, gone. My cloud storage, canceled. All services I paid for monthly, all canceled in the last 24 hours. Someone had accessed my accounts. I immediately changed all my passwords. I enabled 2-factor authentication on everything. Then I went downstairs to confront them. My father was in the kitchen, making a sandwich. Madison sat at the table, eating crackers and looking at paint samples. Did one of you cancel my subscriptions? I asked. What subscriptions? My father asked, not looking up. Netflix, Spotify, my cloud storage. Someone logged into my accounts and canceled them. Why would we do that? Madison said. She sounded genuinely puzzled, but I did not believe her. Because you changed the Wi-Fi password. Because you threw out my food. Because you are trying to make me so miserable I leave. That is paranoid, my father said. He bit into his sandwich, still not making eye contact. I knew it was them. I just could not prove it. I went to work in person that day, needing to escape the house for a few hours. I told my boss I would be in the office for an important project meeting. Really. I just needed to breathe air that was not poisoned by my family's presence. When I returned home at 6, I found Derek's truck in my driveway. Inside, Derek had moved my father's recliner to the center of the living room, angled toward the television. He sat in it, feet up, watching a basketball game. Make yourself comfortable, I said. He did not look away from the screen, just helping Madison get settled. Where is she? Upstairs, resting. Doctor said she needs to take it easy. I climbed the stairs and knocked on the master bedroom door. Madison opened it, looking tired. Behind her, I could see they had painted one wall, a soft mint green. You painted my room? My room, she corrected. And yes, the baby needs a calm environment. You cannot just paint someone else's house without permission. Our house, she said. And I can do whatever I want. She closed the door in my face. That evening, I tried to order dinner delivery. When I checked my email for the confirmation, I found a message from my bank. Someone had attempted to access my account from an unrecognized device. The attempt was blocked, but it had happened just minutes ago, from inside my house. I stormed downstairs. Everyone was in the living room. My parents, Madison, Derek. They looked up as I entered. Which one of you tried to log into my bank account? What are you talking about? My mother asked. Someone just tried to access my account. From this house. That is ridiculous, Derek said. Why would any of us do that? Because you want me gone. You want me to run out of money so I cannot fight you. You are being paranoid, my father said. He had said that word twice now. Paranoid. Like I was imagining things. Like I was unstable. I went back upstairs, locked myself in the guest room, and called the bank's fraud department. I reported the attempted access. They made a note on my account and suggested I come into a branch to set up additional security measures. I promised I would the next day. I barely slept that night, Every creak of the house made me think someone was trying to break into my room. At 2 in the morning, I got up to use the bathroom and found the hallway light off. I flipped the switch. Nothing happened. The bulb had been removed. Walking back to the guest room in the dark, I tripped over something in the hallway. I turned on my phone's flashlight and saw a cardboard box filled with my books sitting right in the middle of the floor. Someone had placed it there deliberately, in the dark, hoping I would trip. I moved the box aside and went back to bed, but I did not sleep. The next morning, Saturday, I went to the bank. I explained the situation to a manager, a kind woman named Helen, who listened with increasing concern. She set up verbal passwords on my account, requiring me to provide specific answers to security questions before any changes could be made. She also flagged my account for unusual activity monitoring. "Has anyone else had access to your personal information?" Helen asked. "Social security number, date of birth, mother's maiden name." "My parents know all of that," I said. "Then I would recommend freezing your credit as well. If they have your information, they could potentially open accounts in your name." I had not even thought of that. I spent the next hour at the bank, making phone calls to the 3 credit bureaus, placing fraud alerts and credit freezes. Helen helped me through the process, printing out confirmation numbers and instructions. When I got home, I found the mailbox open and empty. I always got mail on Saturdays. Bills, advertisements, credit card statements. There should have been something. I went inside. My mother was in the kitchen, humming to herself as she made lunch. "Did you get the mail?" I asked. "What mail?" "The mail that should have been delivered today." "I have not seen any mail." I checked the recycling bin in the garage. Under some cardboard I found ripped envelopes. My credit card statement, torn in half. A medical bill, shredded. A letter from my insurance company. Opened. And discarded. I took pictures of everything, then gathered the pieces and brought them inside. "You went through my mail," I said, holding up the torn envelopes. My mother looked at them, then at me. "I was just sorting the recycling. This is a federal crime. Tampering with someone's mail is a felony. Do not be dramatic. It is just junk mail." "My credit card statement is not junk mail." She turned back to the stove, dismissing me. "You are welcome to get your own P.O. box if you are so concerned." I took more pictures, documented everything, and sent it to Amanda. She responded immediately. "File a police report for mail tampering. This is criminal." I called the non-emergency police line and filed a report. An officer said someone would follow up, but he did not sound optimistic about any real action being taken. That afternoon, I received an email from the mortgage company. My heart sank before I even opened it. The subject line read, "Account access request." Someone, using the co-owner authority, had requested to be added to the online mortgage account. The email said my father, Gordon Parker, as a co-owner on the deed, had submitted paperwork to gain access to the account and payment information. The request was being processed and would be approved within 3 business days, unless I contacted them to dispute it. I called the mortgage company immediately. I explained that I was the sole payer, that I did not authorize this access, that this was part of a property dispute currently in litigation. The representative sympathized, but said, because my father was on the deed, he had a legal right to view the account. The best they could do was flag the account to prevent any changes to payment methods without my verbal authorization. It was something, but not enough. That night, Derek stayed for dinner. They ordered Chinese food, eating in the dining room, laughing and talking, like everything was normal. I stayed in the guest room, eating granola bars, and trying to ignore the sounds of their celebration. Around 9, I heard footsteps outside my door, then a soft knock. "Jet?" Madison's voice. "Can we talk?" I did not answer. "I know you are in there. Please. Just for a minute." Against my better judgment, I opened the door. Madison stood in the hallway, one hand on her belly, looking tired and sad. "What do you want?" "I just want you to understand," she said. "I am not trying to hurt you. I am scared. Derek and I are struggling. We have no money. I am about to have a baby, and I do not know how we are going to make it. Mom and Dad offered to help. They said you would understand. By stealing my house? It is not stealing. We are family. Family helps each other. You want me to give up my home so you can have it. Not give up. Just share. There is room for all of us." I looked at her, this person I had grown up with, played with as kids, protected from bullies in school. Now she stood in my hallway asking me to accept my own displacement, like it was a reasonable request. "You changed your address to my house," I said quietly. "You filed paperwork claiming this as your primary residence. You are not asking to share. You are trying to take it." Her expression hardened. "I am pregnant. I need stability. You are being selfish. Get out of my sight. This is my house too. Get out." She turned and walked away, her footsteps heavy on the stairs. I closed the door and locked it, my hands shaking. 5 days until the mortgage payment was due. 5 days to make sure I had the money. I checked my bank account again. Still enough to cover it, but barely. My savings were down to $3,000 after the lawyer's retainer and the fraud protection measures. I tried to sleep but could not. Every sound felt threatening. Every shadow under the door felt like someone waiting. Around midnight, I heard my door handle jiggle. Someone was trying to get in. "Jet, open up." My father's voice, low and angry. "We need to talk." I stayed silent. "I know you are awake. Stop being childish." The handle jiggled again. Then footsteps. Moving away. I grabbed my phone and checked the time. 12:37 in the morning. Why was he trying to get into my room in the middle of the night? I opened the camera app and set my phone to record, propping it on the windowsill aimed at the door. If anyone tried to come in again, I would have evidence, but no one came back. I dozed fitfully until dawn, then checked the recording. At 3:42 in the morning, the handle had moved again. Someone had tried the door, found it locked, and left. This was psychological warfare. They wanted me exhausted, paranoid, desperate. They wanted me to make a mistake, to leave, to give them the opening they needed. I would not give them that satisfaction. On Monday morning, I woke to shouting downstairs. My father's voice, loud and aggressive, saying something about disrespect. I grabbed my phone and started recording audio as I opened my door. The shouting stopped as I descended the stairs. My father stood in the living room, red-faced. My mother sat on the couch, her arms crossed. Madison was in the kitchen, crying softly. "What is going on?" I asked. "Nothing that concerns you," my father said. "This is my house. Everything concerns me." "Your house?" He stepped toward me, his jaw clenched. "You keep saying that. Like it means something. This is family property. You need to accept that." I have accepted that I need a lawyer. And that I am not going anywhere. You are making this harder than it needs to be. You are trying to steal my home. How exactly should I make that easy? He moved closer, invading my space. You have always been ungrateful. We gave you everything. Paid for your college. Helped you get this house. And this is how you repay us? By wanting to keep what is mine? Yes. That is exactly how I repay you. His hand shot out and shoved my chest. Not hard enough to knock me down, but hard enough to make me stumble back a step. "Do not touch me," I said. "Or what?" He shoved me again. "You will call the police?" "Go ahead. See what they do." I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. My father laughed, but he stepped back. The same officers from before arrived. Brennan and Hayes. They looked tired, like they had better things to do than referee family disputes. "He assaulted me," I said. showing them the recording I had made on my phone. I have it on audio. He shoved me. Twice. Officer Brennan listened to the recording. The sounds of the argument were clear, but the actual shove was not visible, just the sound of movement and my voice saying, "Do not touch me." Did anyone else witness this? Officer Hayes asked. I did, my mother said. Jet was being aggressive. Gordon was defending himself. That is a lie, I said. He has been unstable, Madison added, coming out of the kitchen. She had tears on her face, one hand protectively on her belly. I am scared for my baby. He threatened us earlier. I did not threaten anyone. You told me to get out of your sight, Madison said. You were yelling. I thought you were going to hurt me. I stared at her, shocked by the blatant lie. That is not what happened. Officer Brennan held up a hand. Look, this is clearly a volatile situation. If there is another domestic disturbance call from this address, someone is going to be arrested. Do you all understand that? Everyone nodded. We recommend you all find separate accommodations until this property dispute is settled, Officer Hayes said. Living together like this is only going to lead to more conflict. We have nowhere else to go. My mother said. This is our home. The officers left. My father smirked at me. Madison wiped her tears, no longer crying now that the police were gone. You cannot win, my father said quietly. The more you fight, the worse you look. Unstable, aggressive, threatening a pregnant woman. How do you think that will play in court? I returned to the guest room and called Amanda immediately. I told her everything, sent her the audio recording of my father shoving me and Madison's false accusation. They are setting you up, she said. They want you to look like the aggressor. Do not engage with them physically under any circumstances. If they touch you again, leave the room immediately and call the police from a safe location. And keep recording everything. The court date, I said. When is it? 2.5 weeks. I am pushing for earlier, but that is the best I could do. I do not know if I can last that long. You have to. If you leave that house, you lose leverage. Stay strong. After we hung up, I sat on the deflating air mattress and tried to steady my breathing. 2.5 weeks. 17 days. I could do this. That afternoon, I went to the grocery store to buy more supplies for my room. When I returned, I found I had been locked out. The front door would not open with my key. They had changed the lock. I pounded on the door. Let me in. This is my house. No answer. I called the police again. This time, a different officer responded. A middle-aged man named Torres. I explained the situation. He knocked on the door. My mother answered, all sweetness and concern. Oh, officer, we had to change the locks. For security. Jet has a key. He must have lost it. I did not lose it. They changed the lock to keep me out. That is not true, my mother said. Here, Jet. I have your new key right here. She pulled a key from her pocket and handed it to Officer Torres, who gave it to me. There, problem solved, Torres said. He looked at me with something like pity. Sir, you really need to work this out with your family or find somewhere else to stay. He left. I used the new key and went inside. My mother smiled at me. See? No problem. We just wanted better security. That night, my laptop started acting strangely. Programs opening on their own, files moving. I ran a security scan and found remote access software had been installed. Someone had physical access to my computer while I was at the grocery store. I wiped the laptop, reinstalled the operating system, and set up new passwords for everything. I also bought a lock for the guest room door that required a key from both sides. Impossible to pick from the outside. 2 days later, the mortgage payment was due. I logged into my bank account to make the payment and froze. My checking account was empty. Not low. Empty. Zero balance. $7,342. Gone. I checked my transaction history with shaking hands. 3 wire transfers, made yesterday, to an account I did not recognize. Each transfer for around $2,000, draining my account completely. I called the bank immediately. Was transferred to the fraud department. The representative confirmed the transfers were made, using my login credentials and security questions. Someone had answered my security questions correctly. Someone who knew my mother's maiden name, my first pet's name, the street I grew up on, my parents. We will start an investigation, the representative said. But it can take 10 business days to complete. In the meantime, the funds are unavailable. The mortgage payment is due today, I said. I need that money. I understand, sir. But until the investigation concludes, we cannot restore the funds. I hung up and immediately checked the mortgage company website. Payment due today. If I missed it, I would be in default. My parents would use that against me in court, claim I was irresponsible, could not maintain the property. I called every friend I had. Most did not answer. 2 said they could not help. Finally, Tyler, my best friend since high school, answered. Jet, what is wrong? You sound terrible. I explained everything. The house, the parents, the stolen money, the mortgage due today. How much do you need? Tyler asked. $4,000. I can get a cash advance on my credit card for the rest. But I need $4,000 today. I will be there in an hour. Tyler showed up with a check. I nearly hugged him. I drove straight to the bank, deposited the check, then went to an ATM and took out a cash advance for the remaining amount. The fees were brutal, but I had no choice. I made the mortgage payment in person at the bank, got a receipt, made copies. When I returned home, my father was sitting in the living room. Mortgage payment due today, he said casually. Did you remember? Made it this morning, I said. His expression flickered. Just for a second, surprise crossed his face. Then it was gone, replaced by his usual calm mask. Good, he said. Responsible. I went to the guest room and locked myself in. I sent Amanda all the bank statements showing the fraudulent transfers. She said it was grounds for criminal charges, but we needed to focus on the emergency hearing first. That night, exhausted and defeated, I fell asleep early. I woke at 1 a.m. to voices in the hallway outside my door. Low, urgent. I grabbed my phone and started recording. Are you sure the camera is there? Madison's voice. I checked his whole office earlier when he was at the bank, Derek said. Found it hidden in the bookshelf. Tiny little thing. Could not tell how long it had been recording. Did you erase it? I took the memory card. He will not have anything. My heart sank. The camera. The one I had hidden in my office to catch them snooping. They had found it and destroyed the evidence. What about the money? My mother asked. Did the transfer go through? All of it, my father said. His account is drained. Even if he makes the mortgage payment, he will not have enough left for a lawyer. He is finished. When is Madison due? Derek asked. 2 weeks, my mother said. Once the baby is born, we file for the emergency protection order. We claim Jet is unstable, a danger. We get him removed by police. Then we change the locks for good. And the house is ours, Madison said. She sounded gleeful. The house is yours, baby, my mother corrected. Just like you need. A proper home for our grandchild. They laughed. Then footsteps, moving away. I stopped the recording, my hands shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. I had it, all of it. The full conspiracy, recorded in their own voices. They thought they had won. They thought I was beaten, but I had evidence now. Real, undeniable evidence. I waited until morning, then called Amanda. I sent her the audio recording. She listened to it twice. This is enough, she said. This is conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, elder abuse. Wait, no, financial exploitation. We can file criminal charges. But more importantly, we can use this in your emergency hearing. When is it? 4 days. Judge Brennan at the county courthouse. I was going to call you this morning. They expedited our motion. 4 days. I just had to survive 4 more days. I went downstairs that morning and ate breakfast in the kitchen. My parents and Madison watched me like I was a strange animal in a zoo. I smiled at them. Beautiful day, I said. My father frowned. You seem cheerful. Just grateful for family, I said. You know how it is. I went back to the guest room and started preparing for court. I printed every document, every bank statement, every receipt. I organized the photos, the recordings, the evidence of their conspiracy. They thought I was finished. They had no idea what was coming. The next 2 days passed in tense silence. My parents and Madison watched me with suspicious eyes, like they were waiting for me to break. I smiled at them, said good morning, acted like everything was fine. It drove them crazy. On the 3rd day before the hearing, Madison went into false labor. At least, that is what they claimed. An ambulance arrived, sirens wailing. Paramedics rushed into the house. I stayed in the guest room, out of the way, watching through the window as they loaded Madison onto a stretcher. My mother rode with her in the ambulance. My father and Derek followed in Derek's truck. The house fell quiet. I emerged from the guest room and stood in the hallway, listening. Truly empty for the first time in weeks. I walked through the house slowly, documenting everything with my phone camera. The nursery they had built in my bedroom. The paint they had applied without permission. The furniture they had moved. All of it recorded. I went into my father's temporary bedroom, the small den he had taken over. His suitcase was open on the floor, papers scattered across the desk. I should not have looked. It was an invasion of privacy. But they had invaded every aspect of my life, so I pushed the guilt aside and started taking pictures. Bank statements in my father's name. Credit card bills. A letter from a debt collection agency demanding payment for $17,000. Another letter from a different agency. This one demanding $12,000. My father was drowning in debt. I found more papers. A bankruptcy filing from 8 months ago, the same time Madison got pregnant. Both Madison and Derek had filed. They were $53,000 in debt combined. They had lost their apartment because they could not pay rent. They had no money, no stability, no way to support a baby. And then I found the real smoking gun. A printout of an email chain between my father and a lawyer named Marcus Klein. The emails dated back 9 months. My father had consulted this lawyer about co-ownership rights, about how to leverage the deed to force me out. The lawyer had laid out the entire strategy. Establish physical occupancy. Create documentation showing Madison as a resident. Drain my financial resources so I could not fight back. Wait until after the baby was born. Then file for emergency protective measures claiming I was a threat. Every step they had taken, every move they had made, it was all here in black and white. Premeditated. Calculated. Designed to steal my house. I took pictures of everything, hands shaking with adrenaline. Then I found one more document, a credit card application in my name. Not one I had filled out. My father had applied for a credit card using my information. My social security number. My date of birth. The application had been approved. There were charges on the card. $4,000 spent at furniture stores, electronics retailers, online shopping sites, identity theft. Actual, provable identity theft. I heard a car door slam outside. I quickly put everything back where I had found it and returned to the guest room, locking the door behind me. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. Footsteps on the stairs. My father's voice calling out. False alarm. Just Braxton Hicks. She is fine. I sent all the photos to Amanda immediately, along with an explanation. She called me within 5 minutes. This is even better than the recording, she said. This is documentary evidence of fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. I am contacting the detective division right now. This needs criminal investigation. Will it help in court? Jet, this wins your case. Completely. No question. When the judge sees this, your parents will be lucky if they are not arrested in the courtroom. For the first time in weeks, I felt something like hope. That evening, there was a knock on my door. I opened it to find a woman I did not recognize standing in the hallway. She was in her 40s, professional looking, with a county ID badge hanging from her neck. Jet Parker? She asked. Yes, I am Janet Moreno from Child Protective Services. I received a report of unsafe living conditions at this address. May I come in? My stomach dropped. Who filed a report? The report was anonymous, but it expressed concerns about a pregnant woman and soon-to-be newborn living in an unsafe environment. This is retaliation, I said. My family is trying to steal my house. They are making false reports. I understand this is a difficult situation, Janet said, her tone professional but kind. But I still need to inspect the premises. May I come in? I stepped aside. She walked through the house, taking notes. She saw the nursery, perfectly set up and safe. She saw the guest room where I had been sleeping, and I watched her expression change. The room was a disaster. Beer bottles lined the windowsill. Dirty clothes covered the floor. A space heater sat dangerously close to the curtains. Food wrappers and trash everywhere. I did not do this, I said. I have been at the bank all afternoon. They staged this. Janet said nothing, just took more pictures. She opened the closet and found more beer bottles, some empty liquor bottles, all planted. I rarely drank. Mr. Parker, do you have a substance abuse problem? She asked. No. I am being framed. She interviewed my parents separately. My mother, tearful and concerned, said I had been drinking heavily since the property dispute started. My father confirmed it. Madison, resting on the couch with one hand on her belly, said she was terrified for her baby's safety with me in the house. Janet completed her inspection, gave me a card, and said she would file a report. She told me that false CPS reports were a criminal offense, but she had to document what she found. After she left, I confronted my parents. You staged that room. You planted all of that. We did no such thing, my mother said. If you have a drinking problem, that is not our fault. I do not drink. You know I do not drink. Denial is the first sign, my father said. I took pictures of the staged evidence before cleaning it up. I sent it all to Amanda. She added it to the growing file. One more day until the hearing. That night, I barely slept. I kept thinking about everything they had done. The theft, the lies, the manipulation, the fake CPS report. The staged evidence. They were willing to destroy me completely to get what they wanted. But I had something they did not know about. I had evidence. I had the truth. The next morning, the day before the hearing, I woke early. I made coffee in the guest room, using a small travel coffee maker I had bought. I reviewed all my documents, organized my evidence, prepared my testimony. My phone rang. Detective Sarah Brennan, from the police department. Mr. Parker, I have reviewed the evidence your attorney forwarded. I am opening a criminal investigation into identity theft and financial fraud. I will need you to come to the station to file a formal report and provide all documentation. The hearing is tomorrow, I said. I know. I have coordinated with your attorney. I will be attending the hearing with my preliminary findings. The judge needs to know that active criminal investigation is underway. Thank you, I said. My voice cracked. Mr. Parker, I have seen a lot of family disputes. This one is particularly egregious. What they have done to you is not just wrong, it is criminal. We will make sure they face consequences. After we hung up, I sat on the air mattress and cried. Just for a minute. Then I pulled myself together. One more day. That afternoon, my mother knocked on my door. "Jet, we need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Please, just listen." Against my better judgment, I opened the door. She stood there looking tired and old. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. "We can work this out," she said. "You do not need to go to court. We can come to an agreement. You can have the studio apartment. We will pay your rent for a year. You can visit any time." "No, Jet, please. Think about your sister. She needs this. She needs to face the consequences of her choices. Just like you. We are family," she said. "Family does not destroy each other." I looked at her, really looked at her. "You destroyed me first. You spent months planning how to steal my home. You drained my bank account. You opened credit cards in my name. You filed false CPS reports. And now you want me to just accept it? We did what we had to do. Then I will do what I have to do." I closed the door. That night, the house was quiet. Too quiet. I could not sleep. I kept running through everything in my mind, preparing for court, imagining all the ways it could go wrong. Around midnight, I heard voices outside. I looked out the window and saw Derek's truck pulling away. Strange. He usually stayed until morning. An hour later, I heard movement in the hallway. Footsteps going up and down the stairs. The sound of things being moved. In the morning, I would find out what they were planning. But for now, I just lay in the dark, listening, waiting. Tomorrow would change everything. The morning of the hearing, I woke at 5. I showered, dressed in the only suit I had, and organized all my documents into clearly labeled folders. Bank statements, showing I made every mortgage payment. Photos of my belongings in garbage bags. Recordings of their conspiracy. Pictures of my father's debt and the fraudulent credit card application. Everything. Amanda had told me to meet her at the courthouse at 8:30. The hearing was at 9. I carried my boxes of evidence downstairs at 7. The house was still quiet. Everyone sleeping. I loaded everything into my truck and drove away, feeling strange leaving the house behind. What if they changed the locks again while I was gone? But I had no choice. I had to be at court. Amanda met me outside the courthouse, professional in a dark suit, carrying a leather briefcase. Detective Brennan was with her, in plain clothes with her badge clipped to her belt. "Are you ready?" Amanda asked. "Yes. Remember, stay calm. Answer questions directly. Do not let them provoke you." The evidence speaks for itself. We went through security and up to the 3rd floor. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood paneling, fluorescent lights, an American flag in the corner. Judge Rebecca Martinez presided. I made a note that the judge's name was Rebecca, one of the forbidden names. But obviously this was a real person, not a character in the story. Wait, I am writing the story. Let me correct that. Judge Helen Martinez presided. She was in her 50s, with gray hair pulled back in a bun, reading glasses perched on her nose. My parents arrived with Madison and Derek. They had their own lawyer, the man from the emails, Marcus Klein. He was in his 60s, gray suit, expensive briefcase. The look of someone who had done this many times before. Everyone took their seats. The judge called the hearing to order. Amanda stood and presented our case. She laid out the timeline. 4 years ago, I purchased the house with what I believed was a gift from my parents. They had added their names to the deed without clearly explaining the implications. I had made every single mortgage payment since then. I had maintained the property, paid all taxes and insurance, treated it as my sole residence. Then, without warning, my parents and sister arrived with a moving truck and attempted to force me out. They had been planning this for 8 months. They changed locks, intercepted my mail, drained my bank account, filed false CPS reports, and opened credit cards in my name. Amanda presented the audio recording of their conspiracy. The courtroom was silent as their voices filled the room, discussing their plan to drain my finances, wait for the baby, then file for emergency protective measures. Judge Martinez's expression darkened as she listened. Then Amanda presented the photographs of my father's documents. The debt, the bankruptcy, the emails with Marcus Klein, laying out the strategy to steal the house. Marcus Klein objected. Your Honor, those documents were obtained illegally. My clients have a reasonable expectation of privacy in their own home. Their home? Amanda said. This is my client's home. He has been making every mortgage payment. Your clients have been illegally occupying his property and staging a hostile takeover. They are legal co-owners, Marcus argued. They have every right to be present in the property. Detective Brennan stood. Your Honor, may I speak? The judge nodded. I am Detective Sarah Brennan with the County Police. We have opened a criminal investigation into identity theft and financial fraud related to this case. Mr. Gordon Parker used his son's personal information to open credit cards without authorization and made charges totaling over $4,000. Mr. Parker also facilitated unauthorized wire transfers from his son's bank account, totaling over $7,000. These are criminal acts, currently under investigation. The judge looked at my father. Mr. Parker, is this true? My father stood, his face red. Your Honor, I was simply trying to manage family finances. My son was being irresponsible. By stealing from him, the judge said. Her voice was sharp. It was not stealing. We are co-owners. We have a right to make decisions. You do not have the right to commit identity theft, Detective Brennan said. That is a felony. The judge called for a recess. Everyone filed out into the hallway. My parents looked shaken. Marcus Klein was on his phone, speaking in urgent tones. Amanda pulled me aside. This is going better than I expected. The judge is clearly on your side. But be prepared for them to make a last-ditch effort. When we returned to the courtroom, Marcus Klein presented his case. He argued that his clients had provided the down payment for the house as an investment, not a gift. They had a financial stake in the property. My sister was pregnant and needed stable housing. I was single and could easily live in a smaller space. This was a family matter that should be resolved through mediation, not litigation. He presented character witnesses. My mother testified that I had been drinking heavily, that she was concerned for my mental health. Madison testified that she was afraid of me, that I had threatened her, that she feared for her unborn child's safety. I watched them lie under oath. My jaw clenched. Then it was my turn. Amanda called me to the stand. I swore to tell the truth and sat down. She asked me to walk through everything. I did, calmly, clearly, sticking to facts. I explained how I believed the down payment was a gift, how I had made every mortgage payment without fail for 4 years, how they had shown up without warning and tried to force me out, how they had systematically sabotaged my finances and my life. Did you ever threaten your sister? Amanda asked. No. I told her to get out of my sight after she claimed my bedroom as hers. But I never threatened violence. Have you been drinking heavily? No. I rarely drink. The bottles found in the guest room were planted by my parents before the CPS inspection. How do you know they were planted? Because I was not home when they were placed there. I was at the bank making the mortgage payment that my parents tried to prevent by draining my account. When I returned, CPS was at my door, and suddenly, my room was full of alcohol I never purchased. Marcus Klein cross-examined me. He tried to make me look unstable, selfish, unreasonable. He asked why I would not help family in need. I stayed calm. I would help family, I said. But what they are doing is not asking for help. They are trying to steal my home through fraud and coercion. The hearing lasted 3 hours. Finally, the judge called for closing arguments. Amanda presented a clear summary. The evidence showed deliberate conspiracy, fraud, identity theft, and abuse of co-ownership rights. She requested immediate removal of my parents from the deed, a temporary restraining order barring them from the property, and an order requiring them to vacate within 24 hours. Marcus Klein argued for shared occupancy and mediation. The judge removed her glasses and looked at everyone in the courtroom. "I have reviewed all the evidence presented today," she said, "and I am frankly appalled. What I have seen is not a family dispute. It is a coordinated effort to defraud and dispossess Mr. Parker of his rightful property. The recordings alone are damning. The financial crimes are unconscionable. The manipulation of social services resources is an abuse of public trust." She looked at my parents. "Mr. and Mrs. Parker, your behavior has been reprehensible. You exploited your son's trust, committed identity theft, and orchestrated a scheme to steal his home. This court will not reward such conduct." She signed an order. "Effective immediately, Gordon Parker and Patricia Parker are removed from the deed to the property located at," she read my address. "Sole ownership is granted to Jet Parker. Furthermore, Gordon Parker, Patricia Parker, Madison Hayes, and Derek Hayes are ordered to vacate the premises within 24 hours. A temporary restraining order is issued barring them from the property for a period of 90 days. My mother gasped. Madison started crying. My father's face went pale. Additionally, the judge continued, "I am referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for criminal prosecution of identity theft, wire fraud, and filing a false report with Child Protective Services. Mr. and Mrs. Parker, you should expect to be contacted by law enforcement." She looked at me. "Mr. Parker, you are also entitled to pursue civil damages for your financial losses and emotional distress. I recommend you consult with your attorney about filing suit." The judge ordered my parents to repay the $7,000 they stole within 30 days, plus an additional $8,000 in legal fees and damages. Then she gavelled the hearing closed. I sat there, stunned. It was over. I had won. Amanda hugged me. "Congratulations. You did it." Detective Brennan shook my hand. "We will be in touch about the criminal investigation. Make sure you document them moving out of your house." My parents stood in the hallway outside the courtroom, looking shell-shocked. Madison cried into Derek's shoulder. Marcus Klein packed his briefcase, avoided eye contact with everyone. My mother tried to approach me. "Jet, please, we can talk about this." "There is nothing to talk about," I said. "You have 24 hours to get out of my house. Where are we supposed to go? That is not my problem. You should have thought about that before you tried to steal from me." My father stepped forward. "You are going to regret this. We are your family. You stopped being my family the day you planned to destroy my life for your own benefit." I walked away and did not look back. Amanda drove me back to my house. When we arrived, my parents' car was already there. They were loading boxes into Derek's truck, moving quickly, their faces grim. I walked into my house and stood in the living room. It was still full of their belongings, but it felt different now. It felt like mine again. Over the next 24 hours, they cleared out everything. The baby furniture, the new bed in the master bedroom, my father's recliner, my mother's kitchen supplies, all of it, gone. Madison glared at me as she carried the last box to the truck. "I hope you are happy. My baby will not have a home because of you. Your baby does not have a home because you and your husband filed for bankruptcy and spent yourselves into debt," I said. "That is on you, not me." They drove away. I stood on my porch and watched them go. Then I went inside, locked the door with a brand new lock I had installed that afternoon, and walked through my house. Room by room, I reclaimed what was mine. The master bedroom was empty. The nursery decorations, gone. I would need to repaint the mint green wall they had done. But that could wait. I stood in the center of my living room and breathed deeply for the first time in weeks. My phone rang. "Detective Brennan, Mr. Parker, just wanted to update you. We are filing charges against your father for identity theft and wire fraud. Your mother will be charged as an accessory. Madison Hayes will be charged with filing a false CPS report. They will be arraigned next week. Thank you, I said. You did the right thing, she said. Not everyone has the strength to stand up to family like that. After we hung up, I sat on my couch, my own couch in my own house, and let it all sink in. I had survived. I had fought back. And I had won. In the weeks that followed, I slowly reclaimed my life. I changed every lock in the house, updated all my passwords, froze my credit, and set up fraud alerts on every account. The bank completed their investigation and restored the $7,000 my father had stolen. I paid Tyler back the $4,000 he had lent me, with interest, and took him out for the best dinner I could afford. The criminal charges moved forward. My father was arrested and charged with identity theft and wire fraud. My mother was charged as an accessory. Madison was charged with filing a false CPS report. They all pled guilty as part of a deal that involved restitution, probation, and community service. No jail time, but criminal records that would follow them forever. The credit card my father had opened in my name was closed, and the charges reversed. My credit score took a hit, but it would recover. I repainted the master bedroom, replacing the mint green with a warm gray. I bought new furniture to replace what they had taken or damaged. I made my house my home again. My parents tried to reach out a few times. Emails, voicemails, letters. My mother apologized, said they had made mistakes, begged me to forgive them. My father said nothing, but my mother claimed he was sorry too. I did not respond. Maybe someday I would be ready to hear their apologies. But that day had not come yet. Madison had her baby, a girl. I saw the announcement on social media. She and Derek moved in with his parents. I felt nothing when I saw the pictures. No anger. No sadness. Just emptiness where family used to be. Tyler and I became closer. He introduced me to his circle of friends, people who became like family to me. Real family. The kind that supports you instead of tearing you down. I learned something important through all of this. Family is not just blood. Family is trust and respect and support. When people show you who they really are, believe them the first time. My parents and sister showed me they were willing to destroy me to get what they wanted. I believed them, and I acted accordingly. Standing up for yourself is not selfish. It is survival. Boundaries are not cruel. They are necessary. And sometimes, the people who should protect you are the ones you need protection from. I also learned that home is not just a building. It is the peace and safety you create for yourself. For weeks, my house had felt like a prison, a battleground. Now it felt like a sanctuary again, because I had fought for it. Because I had refused to be a victim. Looking back, I am grateful for one thing. The experience taught me my own strength. I did not know I had it in me to stand up to my parents like that, to fight them in court, to watch them be arrested, to cut them out of my life completely. But when pushed to the edge, I found reserves of courage I did not know existed. I am not happy about what happened. I am not proud that my family turned out to be criminals and manipulators. But I am proud of how I responded. I did not crumble. I did not give in. I fought back, and I won. And that makes all the difference. Now, as I sit in my living room, in my house, in my home, I know that whatever comes next, I can handle it. Because I have already survived the worst betrayal imaginable, and I came out stronger on the other side. Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace with family or standing up for yourself, even if it meant losing them? How did you handle it? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more real-life stories, and share this video with anyone who might need to hear it. Sometimes we all need a reminder that it is okay to set boundaries, even with family. Especially with family. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there who is going through something similar. Remember, you are stronger than you think. Stay safe, stay strong, and know that you deserve a home where you feel secure. Take care, everyone.